Let's get a view on what's been happening in markets this week. And for that, we're now joined by David Bosio from Shaw and Partners. David, welcome along. From where you've been sitting and with what you're focusing in on, what's really been the big stories and what have you been watching? Because clearly we're coming in for a flat week for the ASX 200, but there's plenty of movement going on under the surface, of course.
Hey Kyle, it's been an interesting week, and we've come off the back of a few pretty tough weeks, to be fair, where we've had interest rate concerns and the rate rise factoring into, I guess, sentiment, but also we've had the election, and really the markets have seemingly just brushed the election result off. There hasn't been too much talk about that going forward, and it looks like our markets have slowly stabilised, and as we are today, we're finishing the week reasonably in the green. But I have noticed a bit of M&A out there as well, just bubbling along behind the scenes. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more interest and perhaps a little bit more euphoria coming back to markets as we move forward.
Yeah, I think we could all use a little bit of euphoria again. But one of those is B2 Gold. Can you take us through what's happened with that company?
Yeah, there's been a few small transactions in the resources space, and often when they're, I guess, there's no major companies being taken over, they seem to often fly under the radar. But it's a good sign for markets. And what we saw overnight was a junior gold company called Oklo Resources have received a scheme of arrangement proposal from B2 Gold. So B2 is a global gold play, but Oklo have got a project in Mali, in Africa, and it values the company at around $90 million. It was a circa 125% premium to the last share price, so it's a good uplift for Oklo shareholders. And it's really good to see this theme of junior companies with resources getting taken over by a major.
Yeah, right, okay. And sort of in the similar vein, Yancoal also in making some moves in that space, I think.
Absolutely, they're currently in a trading halt, and it's one to watch because the coal sector has been a very, very interesting ride, and as we've discussed in the past, with all the concerns around ESG, particularly the environmental impacts of some of the coal plays, we've seen nothing less but an incredibly impressive performance from all the listed coal players over this calendar year. Yancoal has a major shareholder, Yankuan, which own circa 60% of the company, and the rumours suggest that they're looking to take out the minority shareholders through some sort of corporate transaction. So they're capped at around $8 billion. They're the largest Australian listed coal play on the ASX. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and what that does for the remainder of the sector, in particular Whitehaven, which is one of those market darlings at the moment in that sector.
Yeah, plenty of interest in the coal space, quite naturally. Also, Alta Minerals received a takeover approach from its largest shareholder.
Yeah, so again on that theme, and this is something where I think for some of us who are in the junior resource plays, we're scratching our head because it's been one of those years where I think we started the year with so much potential, and it's just been a slow grind for many investors. The theme of bigger companies looking to acquire more advanced projects, particularly companies that have got defined resource tons or resource ounces. I think that theme is really bubbling along under the I guess the broad sort of interest in the market. So for Altamin, they've got a very interesting base metals project, particularly a zinc project in Italy of all places. But it's a fabulous deposit. It's got a lot of potential. But again, if you speak to the company, they'll probably say to you that they feel that they're grossly undervalued at the moment. And it looks as if their major shareholder, which is Victor Smorgon Group, so a large Australian-based private investor, they currently own about 20% of Alta Minerals. They've launched a takeover to acquire the remainder of the company. So it's a very, very interesting project, and one could look at it as that major shareholder taking a view that this is an opportunistic time to take advantage of a company that's advanced its project and is potentially, largely overlooked and undervalued by the market. So I just feel that this underlying theme of M&A could be that little catalyst that really fires this market up, particularly the market for junior resources or even more advanced resource companies going forward.
Yeah, okay. One more for you, because I've been hearing the name being thrown around a stack today, and it's caught a lot of attention because it's up 17% as I just checked. But can you give us a look at Galileo and explain what's going on there a little bit, and how you see everything unfolding for that stock?
Yeah, so sadly I don't have any shares, so I'm not one of those guys who are leaving work early on a Friday to go celebrate the success of my Galileo shareholding. However, it's been a fantastic move over the last, call it, 2 to 3 weeks for Galileo shareholders. So they've just essentially been very, very fortunate in the sense that they've conducted a drilling program, and it looks like they've made what looks like a significant precious metals in the platinum group elements. So you've got your palladium, your platinum, and they came out today also suggesting that they've got some rhodium in their results. But what it means essentially is, they do believe that they're onto a significant potential resource slash ore body, and it's very hard to find these sorts of systems globally, let alone in our backyard in Western Australia. But the share price it picked up from, I think, just under 20 cents, and it hit a high today of $1.95, and it's retreated a little bit off those highs, but still a fantastic result, almost 10 times your money for those long suffering shareholders there. So it's been a fantastic result, and I think it's been one that's probably been driven by, say, the recent success over the last 2 years of Chalice mining, and most of your viewers would be very familiar with Chalice and how successful it has been. But they also are one of the few groups that have been able to make a material nickel copper PGE discovery in Western Australia, and they're still capped at north of $2 billion. So I think they're trading around the $6.50 mark themselves at the moment, having started off under 20 cents a few years ago. So it's been a magnificent ride for Chalice shareholders, and on that note, they also were able to put away another $100 million through institutional investors via a placement this week. So they're very, very well capitalised to continue their success, and perhaps those Galileo investors who are piling into the stock at the moment, perhaps they're thinking that this could be the next Chalice.
Yeah, plenty of interest there, and like you said, a few people feeling a little bit richer for themselves today because of that. But just finally, before we wrap up, Friday afternoon, always looking ahead to next week or what's coming up. Anything that's catching your eye that the viewers out there should be keeping an eye on?
Yeah, for those who've listened to me rabbiting on your channel, I've had a consistent theme, and that one there is gold, and I do feel that there's a underlying and slowly forming resurgence in terms of investor sentiment toward the sector. I think the recent rate rise has really brought it back front of mind to a lot of investors. The talk around inflation, the ongoing geopolitical concerns, all those factors seem to play into the gold bug's hands. And it's very, very interesting to see. We've had just this slow, gradual increase again after the recent pullback in the gold price. But it is slowly starting to filter through. And some of the investors that I talk to are starting to sense that there's the potential there for a significant increase in sentiment. And we've seen that sentiment really driving the markets of the battery metals players, in particular the lithium players out there. We haven't seen it in the gold space for some time. So I feel that if we just continue to see gold around these levels and creeping up, it really does play into the hands of that sector. So we'll watch this space, and hopefully it's one that proves me right at some point.